Product provided by Nintendo, Xenoblade Chronicles is my favorite video game series of all time. It's a story that is very near and dear to me, confronting issues such as finding yourself and being willing and able to step into the future no matter what it holds in store for you. Monolith have crafted some of the most emotionally compelling characters and beautiful worlds that I just lose myself in time and time again. But what if I were to tell you this incredible game series didn't just come out of nowhere one day to grace the Wii of all things? You see, the story of Xenoblade Chronicles finds itself going back to arguably one of the greatest consoles of all time, the PlayStation 2, with a series known as Xenosaga. Hello everybody, it's your boy Jmulls, and in today's video, I want to make the case for why Xenosaga deserves a port, a remaster, a remake, anything to bring it back. Because Xenosaga deserves it, and here's why.
And good morning to you, Xion.
Let's begin with what even is Xenosaga in the first place. Well, Xenosaga is a series split into 3 main games, with a couple of side stories. Xenosaga Episode 1 De Vilzemat, The Will to Power. Xenosaga Episode 2 Jenseits von Gutenberg's Beyond Good and Evil. No, not the Ubisoft one. And Xenosaga Episode 3 also Sprach Zarathustra. The Spoke Zarathustra. They sound pretty cool, don't they? Well, they are cool. In fact, they're awesome games with equally awesome characters and stories that, to me, rival Xenoblade. It goes to show just how great Monolith truly are, and just how far back this greatness goes. If you have played the recent Xenoblade games, you may have noticed a few scenes which feel a little bit out there, and they kind of feel like they just happen almost as if they should be more important to the overall story than how they're actually presented. Well, it's because they are very important. The radio scene back at the end of Future Redeemed actually name drops a main antagonist from Xenosaga with Dmitry Yuriev. And Xenoblade Chronicles X in Definitive Edition, well, there's so much Xenosaga story there, it's hard to know where to begin. I mean, the ghost from X are almost one for one with the Gnosis from Saga, to the point where I call them the same thing, or essentially very much connected. The beach that Lao and Al hang out at is the same beach from Xenosaga, where Shion Uzuki, the protagonist of Xenosaga, meets various people's souls that she meets before they die. All the way to Xenosaga Pied Piper, a mobile game spin-off from the mid-2000s, foreshadowing the entire story of Chapter 13 in Xenoblade X Definitive Edition. Xenosaga is deeply entrenched and rooted throughout the story of Blade. It's woven into the very fabric that makes up that series, and it's becoming increasingly crystal clear to me, the more Xenosaga that I play and experience, that this story is not just loosely connected to Blade, it's one story. These stories are one and the same. So narratively, as Xenoblade increasingly makes it obvious that Saga is set in the same multiverse and the laws of Xenosaga are the laws of Xenoblade, I think it only makes sense as this story for Xenoblade marches on, people should have access to the previous series, Xenosaga, so they can understand everything that is going on, because I already loved Xenoblade, but playing through Saga on my own, I'm still working through 3, it has given me a whole new appreciation for Xenoblade, but also Xenosaga. And oh, were it so easy. You see, there's a problem.
And good morning to you, Xion.
Xenoblade is for Monolith, yes, but it's under Nintendo. That's why Xenoblade games come out exclusively on Nintendo hardware. Okay, makes sense. So what's the problem? Well, Monolith Soft weren't always with Nintendo. When they made the Saga games, they were with Bandai Namco. So Xenosaga and Xenoblade are owned by different companies. Yeah, that's why Monolith Soft can't just wave a Monado and create a new universe where we also get definitive editions of Xenosaga. So if we want Xenosaga to come back, Bandai Namco would have to be convinced, and well, they already have discussed it back around 2019. It's just that Xenoblade wasn't as big as it is now, and they didn't think the money would be there to do anything with Xenosaga. I mean, they are a business after all. They aren't just going to make a game that they think will just end up losing them money, or direct resources to a project that won't make as much money in their eyes as putting those same resources elsewhere. Here's my argument. I think Xenosaga is good enough by itself, where if properly marketed and advertised and showed off, it can stand on its own 2 feet by its own merits. Its story is wholly engrossing, filled with lovable characters and both tear-jerking, emotionally destroying moments alongside awesome moments of bombastic sci-fi hype, combined with incredible music and gameplay that is pretty dang fun. The gameplay varies from game to game, but at the heart of it all lies a turn-based formula that does try to find itself over the course of each of the games, but I do think each one does a great job of allowing the characters to express themselves through their respective gameplay while showing off some pretty cool animations. And when you eventually understand the combat systems, you're really able to turn the tide of every fight to your advantage. They're fun and enjoyable, and even the outlier of the series, Saga 2, has moments where it can be really fun. And the funny thing is, if Xenosaga were to be brought back, I don't think for most of the games, much would actually need to be done to them. The changes that would have to be made don't feel like complete overhauls of any of the systems, just fine-tuning the execution. The vast majority of problems that Xenosaga 2 has, at least gameplay-wise, is how long and tedious combat can be. And that can be quickly remedied simply by slashing enemy HP numbers a fair bit, and also upping boost and stock generation. Like, just tweaking numbers alone would turn Saga 2 from the game that killed the franchise because its gameplay was so agonizingly slow, especially if you didn't fully understand every system the game kind of poorly explained, and it would turn it into a game with a really fun turn-based combat loop. Because when these games are allowed to shine, they shine brighter than almost every other game I've ever played.
And good morning to you, Xian.
Saga 1 and 3 would need even less changes gameplay-wise, as they're already rock solid by themselves. Like, maybe tune the robots that you get in Saga 1 to be stronger, and that's kind of it. Like I said, the combat is really fun in both 1 and 3 just out of the box, where you're identifying enemy weaknesses, taking advantage of them, and pooling resources to dump a bunch of damage in all one turn, or boosting to allow characters to go immediately instead of having to wait for their turn. And 2's only issue in my eyes is that it's just too slow and repetitive because of how HP spongy most enemies are. You address that and it's golden. Turn-based games are still really popular, and I think after the success of games like Expedition 33, Metaphor v Fantasio, SMT5, Persona, and many others, we can confidently stop trying to defend turn-based games from accusations that they shouldn't exist in the modern day. There are only 2 other issues that I see that could dampen the mood and bring Saga back, but I do think both are addressable. The art style is so different across all 3 games. Saga 1 has more of an exaggerated cutesy anime style, especially with its heads, whereas 2 went for more of a realistic direction while still clearly being anime inspired. 3 blended the 2 games together into, my opinion, the best art style and art direction in the trilogy. I think there's a couple of solutions depending on the style of Return Saga theoretically gets. You could either, just play it where it lies and only enhance resolution and frame rate and just keep things as is, because while there are some people that will say Xenosaga 2 doesn't look good, I would disagree, and I think Saga 2 even visually looks great, including characters for the most part. It just kinda takes until they all swap into the Saga 2 outfits for that to really become apparent. Also, you might have to redo some of the voice acting. If they were to go back and redo all the art for the series, I would personally advocate for Saga 3's art style to be the standard because, oh my god, it's that good! It's colorful and gorgeous to look at, characters look distinct and unique while not being sometimes as jarring as Saga 1's designs can be on occasion, or out of place like Saga 2. Xenosaga 3, in a lot of ways, is just taking the best elements from both 1 and 2. They could just do a whole new art style, I suppose, and I wouldn't really want that, because like I said, I love this art style and art direction for Xenosaga 3. And the other problem is a narrative one, but I do think it's addressable.
And good morning to you, Xian.
You see, originally Xenosaga was supposed to be a much longer series, instead of the 3 mainline games that we got, but it fell through when, Saga 2 kinda bombed. But while I don't know the ending to Saga 3 yet, I'm probably like 2/3 of the way through, there is a problem for a lot of people that dates all the way back to then as well. Remember how I mentioned there are 2 spin-off stories? Well, they're very important. I mentioned one of them before, Xenosaga Pied Piper, which was a mobile game in the mid-2000s, so yeah. But but it gives the backstory to one of the main party members, Ziggy, and for numerous moments in Saga, that's pretty dang important, because it's his backstory. But arguably, the more important story to not miss out on is Missing Year, what kind of amounts to a kinetic novel that was released to tell the story of what happened in the year-long time skip between Xenosaga 2's ending and the start of Xenosaga 3, hence the name Missing Year. Pretty clever. It's super important because without it, you have no idea why Xion acts the way that she does in 3, why she is doing certain things, or why she has joined a certain group of people. You can read in-game summations of what happened in the menu, but I mean, come on, that's no substitute for the original. We can't just Spark Notes this, right? This is arguably the biggest actual narrative problem Saga would have for actually coming back, because Missing Year is that important. And because Pied Piper was a mobile game from the 2000s, so graphically it's nowhere near the main 3 games. It's just so distinct. But I guess you could kind of get away with not doing anything with it, even though I would argue to do something with it. But Missing Year, there wasn't even gameplay in it. It was just a kinetic novel, and one that can be kind of tough to get through with all the exposition that it has. It's just really hard to follow. But it's super important, so you would probably have to do some kind of side story like Torn of the Golden Country or Feature Redeemed just for Missing Year. I think it would be worth it though, because the story there is really good, but alas, if Xenosaga can only be brought back as a minimal budget project, I guess you could kind of just redo the kinetic novel and slap it in the main menu or something. Would be a shame though, because that story is really good, and I'd love to see full cutscenes for some of those moments, especially the ending. My long forgotten Cloistered Sleep is still one of my favorite songs in all of Xeno, and it comes from Missing Year. But here's my greater point. It's all good stuff. If you market Xenosaga well enough, you highlight and showcase its good parts, as well as its music. Okay, maybe add a bit more music to Saga 1. I think you could draw up a good amount of hype for Xenosaga by itself, not to mention attracting the growing Xenoblade fanbase and excite them by saying, hey, yeah, that series you all love so much, here's 3 more games. They're all connected to each other, and they narratively connect to Blade. And they're great! Here you go! That would be such a great moment, and I hope it happens. Xenosaga is one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had, and I know for many others, they feel the same. These games, these stories, these characters deserve far more than to rot away on old hardware to never see the light of day again. Heck, even just basic modern day ports of these games would be more than enough in my eyes, because like I said, they aren't perfect, but they're great enough and awesome enough to stand on their own 2 feet. And come on, are you telling me you don't want to see this again? It's freaking cool!
No! Wait, Kos-mos, where are you going?
Xion.
What?
Xion is calling me.
Xion? Chief Uzuki is...
And good morning to you, Xion.
Leave a comment down below with if you'd like to see a return of Xenosaga. Let your voices be heard, because if Bandai Namco ever believes there's enough money on the table for it, they are a business at the end of the day, just saying. And while you're down there, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, because we have so much more Xenosaga, Xenoblade, and soon even Xenogears as well to talk about. Speaking of a remake, Halo Combat Evolved is almost certainly getting another one, and if you want to hear my thoughts on how it could work, you should check out this video right here for more. Bye bye everybody, until we meet again!